Hey everyone, it's Denise Brown from the Caregiving Years Training Academy. We're going to do an overview of the different training programs we offer and take a really deep dive into our certified caregiving consultant training. If you are thinking about starting a small business to support family caregivers, we're going to talk it out. I wanted to mention a couple things before we get started, and that is, I often get the question, I already have a personal caregiving experience. I learned a ton caring for my family member. Why in the world would I want to take training? Because I already know what I need to know. And here's how I think about it. So, our personal caregiving experience is integral, important to taking the next step in a career. And it could be the next step for you is to add in coaching and consulting services to a small business. So that personal caregiving experience is just amazing and really sets you apart in the marketplace because you get it. However, in order to be effective working with a client, if you haven't taken training, that client would have to have a mirror of your experience, your situation, availability of resources. It would have to be exactly what you went through in order for you to effectively help them, because you're only bringing in your personal experience into serving clients. And you want to be able to help all your clients. And it is literally impossible for you to connect with someone that has the exact same situation as you. There is no mirror of your situation because that is how unique your situation is and was. And that's how unique every caregiving situation is. No two caregiving situations are alike. So, in order to understand how to really effectively coach and consult with a family caregiver, I truly believe you need training and you need caregiving specific training. You want to understand the global view of a caregiving experience. You want to have skills that you can use with every client that will work with every client. And I teach you that. In addition, I also think it's important for us to acknowledge that working with a family caregiver is a very unique client. It is very difficult to always understand what a client in a caregiving situation is going through unless you've been trained around what happens in the caregiving situation. For instance, I connected with a wellness coach yesterday who enrolled in one of our other training programs, and her wellness training as a coach did not help her in her personal caregiving situation because it's completely different. You would be bringing apples into an orchid, or you know what, I'm going to come up with a better example of that. It's just not going to work. Let's just say that because oftentimes in regular types of coaching, it is about accountability and change. You're helping a client who wants to change something in their life. And in a caregiving situation, there are too many changes going on in our caregiving experience, and we are overwhelmed by all the changes. We want someone who helps us bring stability into our caregiving situation. It's a different type of coaching situation. I teach a very little bit about accountability during our consultant training because family caregivers are already overly accountable. It's what keeps their caree alive. What they need is compassion, support, understanding. We just finished our dementia care pilot program. We used technology to support dementia family caregivers. We did pre and post assessments of the pilot program participants. And we asked in the pre and the post, how much do you need a listener in your life who can hear what's happening in your caregiving situation? And it was always an incredibly high need. Family caregivers want to connect with a listener. The other thing that was really interesting about our pilot program is we thought family caregivers would really want 30 minutes. What happened was they connected to a good listener, so the sessions lasted on average 60 minutes, and some sessions went 90 minutes. It's the power of connecting to someone who has that lived experience and then complements it with training. So they're able to bring in professional skills. That's what changes the experience for the family caregiver. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty. Okay, so I go to conferences all the time because I feel if I'm going to teach, I need to learn. I'm constantly learning. I commit to learning. So I was at a conference in the fall of 2024, and a company that has a peer support solution was giving a presentation, which made me think, oh my gosh, we are a peer support solution. It was very interesting. I hadn't looked at our work that way, which means I was a little slow to it, but you're getting in the nitty-gritty of the work anyway. So they were talking about how they have this peer support solution because there aren't enough counselors and therapists in our country, in the world, really, to meet the need. And there was a physician in the audience, and he stood up and said, "It is time for a non-clinical support revolution." And that's what we are driving, the non-clinical support revolution. Your lived experience coupled with training is this support revolution. So really, I started providing peer support in 1996 when I launched one of the very first online caregiving communities. And then I was watching a webinar probably in 2014, and a former family caregiver said, what really upsets me now in my life is that I've amassed this wisdom, this knowledge base that I cannot pass on to another. There's got to be a way to share what I've learned to make it easier. And that really stuck with me. And I thought, what is the solution? And so I launched the Certified Caregiving Consultant Program as a solution. And it's about training peers, those who have the lived experience, like their client, and actually elevating that with training. When I think about what we do as consultants and coaches, it's really this question that we ask a client: how can I be with you? Because we know in a caregiving situation, people cannot really be with us. It's too painful. The suffering is too great. They don't know what to do. We are trained to be able to be with someone who is in a really tough life situation. We have another level of training, which is our specialist, and that's virtual assistants. And I think of the question they ask clients is, what can I do for you? I'm a small business owner. I have coaches and I have a virtual assistant. A family caregiver is a CEO of her caregiving experience, and a coach and a virtual assistant are huge helps for her, which is why we have a training for consultants and coaches and for virtual assistants, which we call specialists. And then we have professional listening artists, because I believe there is a need for more listeners in our world, and it's a service that people will pay for. And I think of professional listening artists asking this question of clients: what story can I receive from you today? So you can see how we position our work. How can I be with you? That's coaching. What can I do for you? That's virtual assistance. What story can I receive from you? That's listening. And each of those are a professional service that you can take training to become. We have partnered with an organization called TrueMed. So working family caregivers can use their flexible spending account dollars to pay for services offered through our certified caregiving consultants, our comfort care family coaches, and our professional listening artists. I talked a little bit at the very beginning of our workshop today about why become certified. Here's a couple other reasons why. I am working to align what the certified caregiving consultants offer with Medicare Part B reimbursement. I don't want to get too detailed about that right now. I am working on it. I just talked to someone else about it this morning. I talked to a nurse practitioner about it a few weeks ago. I am actively looking for who's our partner that makes it possible for us to provide services to family caregivers and be reimbursed through Medicare Part B. I am constantly working on that. So we did our pilot program. I talked a little bit about that, and it worked. We improved quality of life and we decreased stress. And we partnered with an organization called Plans for Care. It has been a fabulous partnership. So we're continuing the partnership. And that means that we've launched a consumer service for a dementia care family support program. So our certified caregiving consultants are offering this program to consumers who can purchase 5 sessions to resolve 3 care challenges. One of the reasons that it's great to be certified as well is because I do things like these special initiatives, like this pilot program, and you can be involved with it once you become certified. Our consultants do make money. They make money delivering workshops, providing one-on-one coaching, providing group coaching, and some of them are influencers. Some of them write content for organizations and are paid to be a content provider. So there are revenue streams, and I always think it's great to have streams of revenue, and we help you figure that out in the training. So when I think about what my business is about, it's really creating opportunities to prevent regrets. But I don't want to do this by myself. I want to do it with others. I love good company. We think about a caregiving experience as being a very lonely one. Starting a small business is just as lonely. And that's why I wanted to create a community so that you're not alone when you are launching your own small business. And I also teach you again how to be with family caregivers who are in a painful situation. And I have been doing that since 1990. We bring in this really significant insight that family caregivers want to be understood. They do not need to be fixed. The systems they interact with need to be fixed, but the family caregiver is not wrong. They don't need to be fixed. They need to be understood, which is why family caregivers really need our work. One of the really important priorities for me is to really create the right resource at the right time. So our training programs include solutions you can bring to clients, and the solutions reflect the right now reality of family caregivers. For instance, we know that there could be significant cuts to programs that family caregivers are using. So we help them with a planning session around when a benefit ends. Right now, when a benefit ends, family caregivers have to scramble on their own. We want to be that successful solution that helps them plan for what to do when a benefit ends. Okay, one of the things that I do on a regular basis is workshops, and then I ask people to rate me. I am constantly being evaluated. It is a blessing and a curse, and I'm just going to talk about the blessing of it because when I get evaluated, the evaluations are good. We have a really high net promoter score for our workshops. We are at 78 as a net promoter score, and that is excellent. And I have kept track of events that I've done since 2000. So more than 500 events. We've had more than 5,000 registered to attend events. So we have a deep data point of evaluations. And so our Net Promoter Score reflects that people come to the workshops because they get value from them. Okay, so just a little bit about me. So I launched one of the first online caregiving communities in 1996. I managed it until 2020 when I thought I need to focus on one thing, and that's the training programs. So I sold the website. Since then, because I started a community for training programs to connect and share, I've expanded the community so now it's available for family caregivers and former family caregivers, and that's caringourway.com. I also want it to be a lead generating community for our consultants. And then I help my dad and my mom. And my dad died in 2023 and my mom died in 2022. Just always like to clarify that we are not training certified nursing assistants. We are not training based on a disease process. We are training based on a caregiving situation. Our niche is family caregiving. So if you've had a personal experience, you'll find value in the training programs. If you've been helping family caregivers for a particular period of time, you'll find value. You can enroll in the training programs if you're interested in volunteering or if you want to start a small business. This is fascinating research that was released, I believe, in the fall of 2023. 80% of family caregivers are interested in paying for products or services that help them. But guess what? 90% can't identify a company that can help them, which is why we really need help and support within a community. And that can be certified caregiving consultants, comfort care family coaches, caregiving specialists, professional listening artists. And that's our specialty. So we've been enrolling individuals from other countries. We are at 8 countries so far that have enrolled in our program. And I think the big piece of what we help you with is to make a difference. So we have levels of training. And I am always happy to connect with you personally to help you find the right training for you. And when people ask me about, am I qualified? If you've had a personal or a professional caregiving experience, that definitely is what makes you qualified. I also encourage people to think about whether or not they really feel open-minded. And what's so important about being open-minded is the insight that every situation is different. And what worked for you worked for you. And what you want to understand is what's going to work for your client. And that's where our training comes into play. It is hard work, but you won't be on your own. If you want to take a look at some of the courses that we have that are free, you can enroll in Flashlight Camp. That's on Caring Our Way, or Impact Caregiving. If you just want to test out what's it like to take a training with me, you can test it out with those 2 programs. And then just some insights about what people say about our workshops and training. And then there's the list again. Okay. I want to show you something. That's the other thing I wanted to show you. We have 2 ways for you to access your training material. We have a website, which is Care Years Academy. Let's see. I'm going to flip to caregivers.academy.com, and I hope Zoom followed me there. So you'll find our training there. You're going to enroll at caregivers.academy.com and then access your training material there. And you'll also be able to access your training material on our community, caringourway.com. And our courses on caringourway.com just went through a complete refresh. So I just wanted to show you what they look like. Let me get rid of that. It's all mobile friendly. You can go on your phone and watch the videos, but this is what it looks like. So it walks you through 9 modules. And you get to see me with makeup, without makeup. Okay, so that's what it looks like on caringourway.com, which again is our community. I launched a community so that training program participants could connect with each other. And then I realized, oh my heavens, this is a community. I can open it up to family caregivers and former family caregivers. So we have special sections for caregiving support, for after caregiving. We have events, workshops, support groups that happen on a regular basis. So our community is thriving with a variety of individuals, which is what I really like. Okay. That is the overview. If you're here live, you are welcome to ask questions in our chat room. And if you'd like to schedule time with me, you can access my calendar. I'll put a scheduling link in the show notes because I'm happy to meet with people who say, I'd like to take training. I'm just not sure what the right fit is. And I help you find the right fit. And I help you find the right fit based on budget and your goals. And I do it all the time. So I'd be happy to do it with you. And it's also good for me to connect with you just to hear what is it that you want in terms of making an impact, doing meaningful work, using what you gained in terms of wisdom and insights from your own personal caregiving situation. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so when you're ready to enroll, go to careyearsacademy.com. And again, if you'd like to just take a little test drive of a couple different courses, you can go to caringourway.com and look for Flashlight Camp and Impact Caregiving, and you'll find them both helpful. Okay, thank you so much for your interest. I so appreciate it. I'm looking forward to having you in a training program. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'm looking forward to really helping you be all that you want in terms of success in making an impact and making a difference. Okay, thanks so much. Bye-bye.